Senate Democrats have been abundantly clear in their disapproval of naming Matthew Whitaker as the acting attorney general. Now, the argument is that he should have been confirmed by the Senate. And interestingly enough, there are some Republicans who seem to agree. Take a look.
He said some things that would probably be problematic to be confirmed. But having said that, I was very impressed with his attitude, his professionalism, and he's got a very solid resume. So I would encourage the president to pick somebody fairly soon so we can have a permanent attorney general going into the first part of next year.
Does that mean not Mr. Whitaker when you say you'd like him to nominate someone very soon?
No, I mean, that's up to the president. You asked me about Mr. Whitaker. I have nothing against him.
So Lindsey Graham says that, hey, Whitaker has said some things in the past that are problematic for a Senate confirmation. Of course, he didn't specify what he meant by that statement, but we all know what he meant. He's said things about the special counsel's investigation into Russian meddling and how he thinks that it's a witch hunt, essentially regurgitating what Trump says. And Whitaker was also involved in an incredibly shady business that underwent a civil suit and lost. And now the FBI is investigating that company for possible criminal charges. So Whitaker, again, was part of that company. So there are problematic components to him being the acting attorney general. And I'm glad that Lindsey Graham at least mentioned that in this interview.
Yeah, TYT Investigates did a great story on that company that Whitaker was an advisory board member to. So look, I don't know if the Republicans are ever actually going to challenge Donald Trump.
Nope.
So if Trump said, oh yeah, that's it, I'm nominating Whitaker right now, what are you gonna do about it, Lindsey Graham? My guess is he would bow his head and say, oh yes, sir, of course, sir, Whitaker, sir. And I mean, look, they put in Kavanaugh with worse charges, so Whitaker probably fly through. But for the moment being, this is their subtle way of trying to nudge him towards a more acceptable candidate. Does it look like Donald Trump responds well to subtlety? So that ain't gonna work.
I don't think it's about nudging. I think it's about playing both sides. I think it's about supporting Trump while simultaneously protecting themselves and their futures should Trump fall out of grace with his supporters.
Yeah, no, great point.
Yeah,
it's like if it turns out Mueller got him, Lindsey Graham could go back and say, hey, look, I said I had concerns about Whitaker, and Whitaker shouldn't have fired him. If Mueller, for example, if Whitaker fires Mueller and Mueller then releases damning evidence on Trump, Graham can point back to this interview. But if push comes to shove, will he vote for Whitaker? Of course he will, because he'll do whatever Donald Trump tells him to do.
Now, it appears that everyone has acknowledged the fact that Matthew Whitaker has said negative things toward the Russia investigation. He has called it a witch hunt. And during Trump's interview with Chris Wallace over the weekend, Trump claimed that he had no idea.
He has a long record of speaking out against the special counsel and his probe.
I could see a scenario where Jeff Sessions is replaced with a recess appointment, and that attorney general doesn't fire Bob Mueller, but he just reduces the budget so low that his investigation grinds to almost a halt.
The truth is, there was no collusion with the Russians in the Trump campaign.
Did you know before you appointed him that he had that record and was so critical of Robert Mueller?
I did not know that. I did not know he took views on the Mueller investigation as such.
And when you found that out?
I don't think it had any effect. If you look at those statements they really can be viewed either way, but I don't think it would have any effect.
He says there's no collusion.
Chris, I'll tell you what.
He says you can starve the investigation.
Right. What do you do when a person's right? There is no collusion. He happened to be right. I mean, he said it. So if he said there is collusion, I'm supposed to be taking somebody that says there is, because then I wouldn't take him for two reasons. But the number one reason is the fact that he would have been wrong. If he said that there's no collusion, he's right.
Okay, if he said it. I didn't know that. Oh, come on. I mean, if you're a MAGA guy, I guess your only defense is, oh, we know he's lying, but he's trolling you liberals to try to trigger you.
That is definitely something that I've seen a lot of on social media.
Yeah, because they have no defense left. It's such an obvious lie. Oh, Donald Trump didn't happen to know that Whitaker had been saying all over television that he's against Mueller. And if there happened to be a recess appointment of someone to be attorney general, they should make sure to end the Mueller investigation. And golly gee, turns out that he's the one, after Sessions is dumped, just like he said on television, is the guy picked to be the interim attorney general who would start the investigation and end it. Of course Donald Trump knew. You think he didn't look into that? You think that he went into his chief of staff or whatever, he's like, no, look guys, I just want you to pick someone who's independent. Make sure this thing's on the up and up. Don't worry about what they think about the Mueller investigation. There's not even a single MAGA guy who thinks that. You're brain dead if you think that.
So I have evidence. Remember, Donald Trump and Jeff Sessions did not have a good relationship because Jeff Sessions recused himself. Matthew Whitaker was the chief of staff for Jeff Sessions when he was attorney general. And Donald Trump refused to speak directly to Jeff Sessions because he's a baby and would only speak to Whitaker. So he's had multiple conversations with Whitaker and knows what Whitaker's stance is on the Russia investigation. He's a liar.
He comically said after naming him that he didn't know who Matt Whitaker was. Trump was on TV before the appointment saying, I know Matt Whitaker, he's a good guy. Like, it is literally impossible for you to believe that Donald Trump is not lying. So if you do, there's like, your brain doesn't work right. I'm serious, you should go see a doctor. Because he lies to you right in front of your face, patently obvious. So you go, oh, no, that looks right to me. No, you got issues, dude. Go see a specialist.
Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.